Hello, I'm your host for General Aviation, Hank Campbell. General aviation is one of the freedoms that the citizens of the United States have long enjoyed. This ability to operate aircraft anywhere in the country is unique compared to many countries throughout the world. As you view the video, keep in mind that the airspace in the United States is home to all types of aircraft, large and small. Remember that our air traffic control system consists of rules and regulations that set the parameters for safe operations of aircraft throughout the United States. Pilots have demonstrated that the system is extremely functional, executing thousands of flights each day. It is my hope that this video will show you the professionalism of our general aviation community. Little is ever spoken of the important functions that the community provides. Enjoy the journey. Every story has a beginning, and this story begins in 1982 when a business client named Jim Frizz asked if I would be interested in a partnership to purchase an aircraft. This investment spurred me to fulfill a lifelong desire to become a pilot. Our investment aircraft was a 1978 Piper Warrior with 160 horsepower and a top speed of 126 knots. I immediately started pilot training at the AFI Flight Training Center at Fullerton Airport, located in Southern California. Fullerton Airport is located in the Los Angeles, California area in extremely congested and complex airspace. Like all once remote airfields, Fullerton is now surrounded by residential and business communities. Fullerton Airport opened in 1940. It has a runway length of 3,121 feet and is 75 feet wide. The Fullerton Control Tower is operational from 7 a.m. until 9 p.m. daily. After those hours, pilots utilize VFR-only rules. The airport is home to a very good restaurant called Wings. Wings Cafe is located below the tower. All pilots are required to maintain detailed flight logbooks, and this shows my 3 logbooks accumulated over the many years that I was an active pilot. This is the first page of logbook number 1. February 5th, 1983 was my first flight lesson. Most lessons were conducted in the Piper Warrior, and lessons were logged as dual received time. On April 2nd, 1983, a first solo flight was completed. The first solo flight consists of a takeoff and landing within the airport traffic pattern. June 22nd, 1983 was when I completed the private pilot flight test. This test was successfully completed. By that time, I had 45 hours of dual time and 32 hours of pilot and command time. Every pilot requires a medical certificate, and it must be renewed every 2 years. Every pilot also requires to have a radio operator permit to use radios in the National Airspace System. The next step after becoming a private pilot was for me to realize that the Piper Warrior, of which I was a partner, would not have the utility to become a good business airplane. I talked with Fred Miller, owner of General Aviation Company, the fixed base operator at Fullerton Airport. Fred recommended the Piper Saratoga as a good business aircraft for my type of business. General Aviation Company provides FAA maintenance services for aircraft, an important function to maintain airworthiness requirements. In June of 1983, I placed an order for a new Piper Saratoga, and I went to Vero Beach, Florida to pick up the aircraft. On August 4th, 1983, I landed at Vero Beach, Florida Airport, taxied to the factory located there on the airport. And when I got to the factory, this view awaited me. After taking a test flight along the Florida coast to Miami with my new airplane, I returned back to Vero Beach and went inside the offices to take care of business. The Piper Saratoga is a very fast airplane. It is 300 horsepower, has a constant speed propeller, and has a service ceiling of 20,000 feet. At 75% power, the airplane will cruise at 172 knots, which is equivalent to approximately 200 miles per hour ground speed. A few of the views of the Piper Saratoga showing the interior and some of the baggage compartments. Jim Frizz accompanied me on the pickup trip to act as co-pilot. Jim was a World War II Air Force pilot and became a lifelong friend. Here I show logbook entries for the flight from Vero Beach to Fullerton, California. The flight included stops at Pensacola, Florida, San Antonio, Texas, Tucson, Arizona, and then into Fullerton. Flying time for this trip was 15.7 hours and a distance of 2,586 miles. Our average speed for the trip was 165 miles per hour. The Piper Saratoga performs very well when flying at altitudes between 10,000 and 20,000 feet. Above 12,500 feet, oxygen is required, and the airplane is equipped with oxygen. After stopping overnight at San Antonio, Texas, November 4316 November arrived at Fullerton Airport on August 6, 1983, to begin a new life as a business aircraft. The next step in my pilot journey was to obtain an instrument rating, which would give me the ability to operate in the air traffic control system with all the other commercial aircraft. An instrument rating encompassed a ground school where we would learn air traffic control and communication protocols. We would learn instrument flight rules. We would learn how to do detailed flight planning, and we would receive hours of in-flight dual training with an instructor to learn how to operate within the air traffic control system. Instrument training flight hours were logged in the logbook by the flight instructor. Notice the incredibly small yet perfect printing of my flight instructor. Instrument training syllabus from Piper Aircraft was used for our classroom work. Every instrument operation is studied in detail. Hours of ground school training is followed by a very difficult written examination that is conducted by the Federal Aviation Administration. Pre-flight check procedures are an important focus during instrument training because checking every aspect of an airplane before a flight is extremely important. Here, a view of the Saratoga cockpit. In cockpit lessons covered everything on the airplane, including the detailed checklist for startup. Navigational instruments and procedures were thoroughly covered in the ground school. Saratoga 4316 November had the instruments that would meet the strict requirements of the FAA for instrument flights. The Saratoga Piper panel, the throttle, propeller control, and mixture control is shown on the lower left of this picture. Every electrical circuit on the airplane is fused. The Saratoga has 2 fuel tanks located in the wings. Fuel is switched from tank to tank by the lever in the center. The elevator trim tab is above the lever on the right. Here you see the cylinder head temperature, oil pressure, oil temperature, and alternator amp gauges. The retractable landing gear control is on the right. The 3 lights above represent the nose gear and the 2 gear under the wing that are retractable. You also see the fuel flow and engine RPM gauges. The all-important communication and navigation instruments are dual navigation communication instruments that are required for instrument flights. These 2 manuals are the 2 manuals that represent the key documents for instrument flying. The first is the Federal FAR Regulation Manual that cover all the rules and regulations for aircraft operations in the United States. The second book is the high-level and low-level airway maps required when filing flight plans. All aircraft in the instrument system must fly these airways and abide by the altitudes assigned. The instrument landing charts are also in this document and are used for instrument landing procedures at all airports in the United States. This shows the GPS approach at Fullerton Airport. On March 21, 1984, an instrument rating check flight was taken and I satisfactorily completed my instrument rating, and the rating was added to my license. Unlike a vehicle driver's license, the pilot license is valid for your lifetime unless revoked by the FAA for a serious infraction. The instrument rating is very important because it enables private pilots to fly within the IFR system utilized by commercial airliners. The following film clip shows an IFR flight from Fullerton Airport to John Wayne Airport in Orange County. Pay attention to how important it is to keep a keen ear to air traffic control system during any instrument flight.
Hotel 1350 Zulu weather, 2204, visibility 10, ceiling 1,300 overcast. Temperature 18, dew point 16, altimeter 2999. COR Alpha approaching you, arriving and departing runway 24. Caution bird activity along the runway. Advise on initial contact, you have information hotel.
Good morning, Fullerton Ground, Saratoga 23 Alpha Hotel at the southeast run-up with hotel requesting a tower and route clearance to John Wayne.
Number 23 Alpha Hotel, Fulton Ground, runway 24, taxi via Alpha. You're cleared to the Orange County Airport after departure, turn left heading 120. Radar vector Seal Beach direct, maintain 2000. Expect 3000, 10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 125.35, squawk 5257.
And 23 Alpha Hotel is cleared to the John Wayne Airport on departure, turn left heading 120, radar vector Seal Beach direct, 2000, 3000, 10 minutes after departure, departure control 125.35, squawking 5257. And taxi runway 24 via Alpha.
23 Alpha Hotel, read back is correct.
And Fullerton Towers, Saratoga 23 Alpha Hotel is holding short, runway 24.
Number 23 Alpha Hotel, Fullerton Tower, runway 24, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, 24, 23 Alpha Hotel. Alright, clear on final. Runway's clear. Alright, lights, camera, action. And here we go.
Tower CHP 51, we're going to stop supported at 2700. CHP 51, thank you, be safe.
Alright, engine instruments are in the green. Rotating 70. Positive rate gear coming up.
Crossing a box rock. Number 23 Alpha Hotel, contact SoCal departure.
Over to SoCal, 23 Alpha Hotel, good day. And good morning, SoCal departure, Saratoga 23 Alpha Hotel is 1,000, climbing 2,000. And power back. And prop coming back. And mixture set. And heat on.
23 Alpha Hotel, SoCal approach, identify altitude.
Identing 23 Alpha Hotel, leaving 1,300.
November 699, descend and maintain 3000. 3000, so 29. Number 3 Alpha Hotel, radar contact 2 miles south of Fullerton Airport. Report at 2,500, advise me on Delta.
23 Alpha Hotel will advise with Delta.
Number 3 Alpha Hotel, climb maintain 3000, contact approach 121.3.
121.3, climb maintain 3,000, 23 Alpha Hotel.
CP51, over the top.
Visibility 4. Light rate. 1,400.
And SoCal approach Saratoga 23 Alpha Hotel is climbing 1,700 for 3,000, and I'm getting Delta.
Number 3 Alpha Hotel, thank you.
Landing at departing runway 20, left. Intentional aircraft. Standard of weather information for Southern California available on high watch, flight watch, or flight service station frequencies. Use caution for bird activity in the vicinity of the airport. Use caution for multiple trains, various squadrons. Advisory, all aircraft reach Central runway assignment, Central runway hold short instruction. All departing General Aviation aircraft contact clearance. Delivery prior to taxi. Advise on initial contact. You have information, tell us.
That was 1193, connect tower 126.8, good day. Hey, South 1193. South is 4218, turn right 100, descend and maintain 3000. 100, 3000, South 4218. November 3 Alpha Hotel, turn left in 060.
Left 060, 23 Alpha Hotel. And power back. Altitude is 3,000. And the glide slope and localizer
4218,
are already alive.
turn right 165, maintain 3000, until established and localizer, cleared off approach. 165, 3000 till established, cleared the island 20 right, approach south 4218. Number 3 Alpha Hotel, turn left in 030.
030, 23 Alpha Hotel. They're vectoring us away from 23 Alpha Hotel.
Localizer, cleared ILS approach.
Turn right, heading 165 until established, cleared ILS approach, runway 20 right, 23 Alpha Hotel. Alright.
SoCal approach, Aero 2350 Mike 4000 with Delta.
Aero 2350 Mike, SoCal approach, shutter.
Southwest 4218, turn left Echo, ground 120.8, good day.
Echo 0.8, good day, Southwest 4218.
Saratoga 3 Alpha Hotel, caution wake turbines, Boeing 737 departing, wind calm, runway 20 right, clear line.
Clear land 20 right, 23 Alpha Hotel.
1105, contact SoCal departure, good day.
Dispatch, good day, Southwest 1105.
John Wayne Tower, Aero 2350 Mike on the ILS 20 right.
Aero 2350 Mike, John Wayne Tower, good morning, runway 20 right, cleared to land, wind calm.
Cleared land 20 right, 50 Mike.
One 120.8 left on Delta, 23 Alpha Hotel, good day. Good morning, John Wayne Ground, Saratoga 23 Alpha Hotel, clear the active 20 right at Delta, requesting taxi to American Aircraft.
Saratoga 23 Alpha Hotel, John Wayne Ground, taxi to Alpha to American Aircraft.
Alpha to American Aircraft, 23 Alpha Hotel.
You have seen the long and arduous task of becoming a private pilot and obtaining an instrument license. Now I would like to take a few minutes to show you a few flights to illustrate how useful general aviation is for both business travel and private travel. Business travel was far and away the most prevalent use for the Saratoga, and enabled trips into remote airports not served by airlines. The Saratoga enabled business travel with up to 6 persons. This flight to San Francisco with 5 employees saved the company time, money, and it was scheduled at the convenience of the company. Doyle Eklund on the left and Bob Everhart on the right are corporate officers on this flight to San Francisco. Every flight is meticulously planned. These documents show the flight plan to and from San Francisco International Airport. Here, a chart showing the San Francisco Airport. The instrument landing system approach to runway 19 left at San Francisco International Airport, and the approach chart for 28 left, which is normally used by general aviation aircraft. Here, a good view of the San Francisco International Airport. Another flight plan to Bakersfield. The notes written on the top left are the tower instructions for clearance to depart Fullerton Airport. These 2 forms show the instrument approach, communication, and navigation information for landing at the Bakersfield Airport. Personal flights also were made but were a small part of the Saratoga trips. This trip to the World's Fair in Vancouver was memorable. This shows the logbook for the flight to the World's Fair. The total flight time from Fullerton to Vancouver, British Columbia was 8.3 hours. We departed Fullerton, went to Vacaville, which is near Sacramento, then flew to Medford, Oregon, where we spent the night. The following day, we flew to Seattle-Tacoma International Airport, where we cleared customs. Then on over to Victoria, BC, where we spent a few days, and then over to Vancouver, BC, for attending the World's Fair. Here, a view of Seattle-Tacoma International Airport. We landed here to clear customs before entering Canada. After departing Seattle Airport, we flew to Victoria, British Columbia, and later on to Vancouver, where we attended the World Fair. Victoria, British Columbia Airport was by far the most gorgeous view in flying. As we came out of the clouds on an instrument approach, there was nothing but green and blue representing the landscaping and the water. Here, a view of Vancouver, British Columbia International Airport. Our visit here was for the 1986 World Fair. Another family trip took us to Salt Lake City, Utah. This round trip took us 8.1 hours into Saratoga. Where Saratoga easily accommodated my family. The weight and balance calculations on every flight were very critical, especially when multiple passengers with baggage were on board. Here a view of the Salt Lake City, Utah International Airport in the wintertime. A very beautiful view when you popped out of the clouds and saw nothing but snow with a bare runway. Weather briefings for all flights are extremely important. Even on sunny days, wind and other weather conditions affect flight plans. You can also get flight plans and weather information en route. The Los Angeles International Airport is in the Los Angeles airspace area. Here a map of that area. Because of extremely heavy airplane traffic, nearly all of the area is termed controlled airspace. This is a chart showing the complex airspace around Edwards Air Force Base in the Mojave Desert. I flew a lot of flights in this area because I had extensive business with the Kermit McGee Corporation in Trona, California. We had to fly around the protected Edwards Air Force Base airspace. All pilots are required to meet FAA currency requirements. Flight reviews are required every 2 years. Instrument competency checks are required every 6 months. Here are charts of the San Luis Obispo Airport approaches. On the left, the airport, and on the right, the instrument approach for the airport. On August 3rd, 1988, it was not a good day for Saratoga 4316 November. A complete electrical failure led to a wheels-up emergency landing. My wife, Marianne, accompanied me on the business trip to San Luis Obispo. She was very collected and calm during the episode. The landing was successful without injuries or extensive damage. We made the local Tribune newspaper with an article on the following day about our belly landing. Because the airplane received a propeller strike upon landing, FAA rules dictated a complete engine disassembly and inspection. No engine damage was found. On April 19th, 1991, I was able to do a very unique flight with Air Combat USA. Air Combat USA has a fleet of Marchetti SF-360 aircraft. The Italian-made airplanes are certified for all maneuvers. They are specially equipped for dogfighting. Pilots are fitted with combat uniforms, and then after donning a flight suit, helmet, and parachute, we were ready for the real test. An experienced military pilot accompanies participants on flights in the Marchetti. Before the flight, instruction in combat maneuvers is provided. After takeoff from Fullerton, our Marchetti and opposing aircraft fly over the ocean where the action takes place. You can see Catalina Island in the background. Another pilot and instructor engaged us in a dogfight that is realistic and extremely challenging. A laser gun on the Marchetti explodes the smoke bomb on the opposing aircraft. It is very realistic. After the flight, it was very clear to me that the Marchetti is a very capable fighter aircraft. After selling the Saratoga in late 1991, other rental aircraft were flown until 1997, when my last flight was logged. At that time, over 1,250 hours had been logged. I had landed at many airfields throughout several states, a total number of 87 airports in 5 states and 2 countries. That is the completion of my general aviation journey. It was truly one of the highlights of my lifetime and is an achievement I never expected. I hope you enjoyed my journey as well. Thank you for watching.